ever jumped off of a building or fell off of anything and wanted somebody to be there to catch you? Well, I haven't either, but if it did happen, I would want somebody there to catch me. Now, my main verse is Psalms 91, verse 11 through 12, and it talks about this, and it says, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." Now, there are many books in the Bible that reference protection through trust. Some of these books and their authors would be David for Psalms 91 and 34, Paul in Hebrews 1, and Jeremiah in 2 Kings chapter 6. And other Bible stories referencing this as well would be the three in the fiery furnace and Daniel in the lion's den. Now, there are many stories in the Bible that deal with protection, such as the main verse. And in the Lutheran Study Bible, it says that this verse is a comfort. It says that the angels are there to protect you from all evil that could come your way. Now, this verse is actually cited by Satan in the temptation of Jesus, and I'll show you that quickly. Now, the temptation of Jesus is a fairly easy story to remember. He was tempted 3 times, and all 3 times he rebuffed the devil, and in the end, after he had done that, the angels attended to him. And this was after he was in the desert for 40 days. Now, it is also said that this entire chapter in Psalms could have been written by Moses, but that is only not very many people know for sure, and other people claim that it could be David as well. But the reason that they think it's David is because of the pestilence it talked about during this entire chapter. And the pestilence is referencing 2 Samuel 24, which is when David, he argued with God, and God punished him for it. But instead of choosing his own punishment, David put it all in God's hands so that he might have mercy on them. And instead of having 3 years of war or 3 months of famine, they had 3 days of pestilence, and over 70,000 people died. There are other passages in the Bible and stories in the Bible that reference protection, and some of these would be Psalms 34, verse 7. And it says, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them." Now, when you fear God, he will rescue you. And the word fear in this verse does not mean to be afraid of, but to be reverent of or in awe of. And another verse is Hebrews 1, verse 14. And it says, "Are they not all ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation?" Now, God will send angels out to protect all believers on earth. And if you love and trust in God, he will protect you. My last verse is from 2 Kings 6, 16 through 17, and it is talking with Elisha. He said, "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." Then Elisha prayed and said, "O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see." So the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountains were full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Now, the amount of angels that God can send to protect you and are constantly around you are uncountable, and the power of heaven will never be surpassed, and it is unmatched. God uses many passages to reference protection and trust. Now, if you would take out your handouts, you will see that it is the story of the fiery furnace, which is dealing with the 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those 3 men pretty much defied the king's orders and were thrown into a furnace for it, but they were not harmed because they believed and trusted in God. And overall, they did very well with their faith. Another man of faith is a man named Daniel. Daniel in the lion's Then is a story most children know when they're in like Sunday school, but if you don't, the story is like pretty much about how he trusted in God to save him because he would not bow down and pray to the king. And for that, he was thrown into a den of lions, and those lions did not harm him at all. And in the end, he was saved. And it says, believe in God, and he will protect you, and you will be saved from him. Now, unbelievers who might be in here, if not, that's fine. You can rely on other people on earth to protect you, and it doesn't really matter that they're not like normal people. You could have police officers, firefighters, even a normal citizen could be out there trying to help you. Now, the reason I chose this verse is because it is also my confirmation verse, and I like the idea of being protected and having protection. It gives me a great deal of comfort. Now, I would like you guys to take comfort and security in your own well-being. Now, God will protect you from all evil if you trust in him. And the passages in Psalms 91 and 34, Hebrews 1, and 2 Kings 6 all prove that. And I want you guys to remember that you're always under someone's protection, whether you're under God's or not. For the unbelievers, you are under the protection of the normal citizen, the normal firefighter or police officer who put their lives out on the line every day. And for the believers, you are under the protection of God, who sends his angels to protect you, and as well as his son who died for you. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Elizabeth. And